Karate friends, welcome to Classics in Color, your weekly dive into some of the ancient world's wackiest facts. I'm Mark Graves, and today we will be asking the question, what was it like to be a virgin in the ancient world? Would you be shocked if I told you that the answer is, it depends. We have both examples. Sometimes virginity is very sacred and important, and sometimes it is bad and shamed and a disease. So we'll start with the positive ones, namely the Vestal Virgins. So it's right in the name, they're virgins, and they are central, sacred, very important to ancient Rome. So this class of priestesses is made up of young girls who are chosen from the noblest families in Rome, and they serve for 30 years at a time. And they have a lot of very important responsibilities. The main one is they have to keep the sacred flame of Vesta burning eternally. And they have other perks as well. For example, they can pardon people who have been condemned to death. But they have to remain virgins. That's very important. If they are discovered to not be virgins at any point during that 30 years, then they are condemned to death, and usually a very unpleasant death. They are buried alive, things like that. So in their case, virginity is very sacred and important to their ritual purity. At the exact same time, in the ancient world, there is this disease called Hysteria, which in ancient Greek just means wandering womb. So there's this idea in ancient medicine that the uterus is its own little wild animal that lives inside of every woman, and that it can wander around. So it can move around in your body, it can chew on the different organs, it can even strangle a woman in some cases. And so the idea is that whenever a woman is acting crazy, it is because she is being tormented and driven mad by her wandering uterus. And the reason that the uterus is so upset and wandering around is that it is thirsty. It is dehydrated and it is searching for moisture elsewhere in the body. And you can imagine how ancient doctors proposed to hydrate, moisturize these uteruses. So the idea is that ancient women need to be married and be having sex and be producing children in order for them to stay mentally healthy. And if they do not do these things, then they will literally be driven mad and in some cases even driven to commit suicide. So it's just a very strange concept. Men don't really get off any easier. So the first example I have is the story of Hippolytus. Hippolytus was a young man who thought that love and relationships, and especially sex, are just stupid. They're a waste of time. He doesn't want anything to do with them. But the goddess Aphrodite takes this as a personal affront, and so she takes it upon herself to ruin his life. He ends up getting accused of raping his stepmother. He gets banished. He gets accidentally torn apart by his own racehorses, and so he just dies this horrible, mutilated, tragic death. So the whole thing is a tragedy, and the moral of the tragedy basically is to not shun Aphrodite, namely sex. Finally, we're going to take a look at a story about the Spartans. So this comes from Plutarch's Lives, specifically his life of Lycurgus. Lycurgus is the person who founded Sparta as we think of it, so with the communal living and all of that stuff. So fertility is a really important value, I guess, in Lycurgus's whole setup. Everybody's encouraged to be as healthy as they can and to mate with as healthy and eligible and breedable people, I guess, as they can. And there's even an encouragement of wife sharing, especially if an older man is married to kind of a younger woman. He should be willing to share her with younger men so that she can be impregnated with the best sperm possible, because the whole idea is that you want to unselfishly promote the next generation, right? You want them to be the best and the healthiest that they can be. And there's actually kind of a funny story about people Spartans shaming other Spartans for not participating in this important project of procreation. Moreover, there were incentives to marriage in these things. Such things as the appearance of the maidens without much clothing and processions and athletic contests where young men were looking on, for these were drawn on by necessity. Not geometrical, but the sort of necessity which lovers know, as Plato says. Nor was this all. Lycurgus also put a kind of public stigma upon confirmed bachelors. They were excluded from the sight of the young men and maidens at their exercises, and in winter, the magistrates ordered them to march around the marketplace in their tunics only. And as they marched, they sang a certain song about themselves, and its burden was that they were justly punished for disobeying the laws. Besides this, they were deprived of the honor and gracious attentions which the young men habitually paid to their elders. Therefore, there was no one to find fault with what was said to Hippolytus, reputable general though he was. As he entered a company, namely, one of the younger men would not offer him his seat, but said, "Indeed, thou hast begotten no son who will one day give his seat to me." So it looks like in ancient Sparta, it didn't matter how accomplished or intelligent or anything else you were, if you were not getting married and making babies, you were a disgrace to your people. So overall, we've looked at a bit of a mix. Sometimes virginity was seen as important and good, but more often it was seen as something that was dangerous and anti-social. So there you have it. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Special thank you as always to subscribers and to Patreon members. Thank you so much, and I hope to see all of you guys again next week. Karate.